Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Best of Nothing podcast. On my left, we have Zeno,
What's up?
and beneath we have Boom.
Hello.
All right, so let's talk about what do we have to talk about this week?
We could talk about one of the different campaigns.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Well, honestly, like I said in one of the previous episodes, I've been working on FC3, and I will say that I talked to Cletus about this, or I'm sorry, I talked to Zeno. Sorry, I keep. You guys still have your Dinosaurs of the Wild West
Their
names on your.
names for
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you can go with whatever you want. In fact, you could even use my name if you ever wanted to. I personally don't mind.
All right. Anyways, so you guys know I've been retooling FC3, and that's been a task in and of itself. You know what I mean? Like retooling
Yeah,
the whole campaign and just coming to terms with like, well, shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like I finally said fuck it. I've just put spell slots into FC3 finally. You know what I mean? Along with the catalyst system, and they're just two
Oh
separate
wow.
magic. They're just two separate magic casting systems that I have to deal with now, which I'm okay with because the catalyst system causes too many problems, and I find that spell slots are actually way better than I initially thought. I'm not changing my viewpoint on armor though. I still think armor class is the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, the idea that simply just because so you rolled a 13 for your percentage of success, correct? Well, that's not high enough for this person.
It's a goblin with a
What?
wooden targe. Are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
I could kick the fucking thing. You know what I mean? But no, because the dice roll. And that's what always made me mad about D&D armor, because the idea is that my idea for armor is that you're doing enough damage to the armor to the point where the armor is ineffective anymore. You know what I mean?
Sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
which
makes a
is
Because
how
lot
it
more
works.
sense.
there's always that scene in like those really cool like medieval fantasy movies where the dude gets hit and his chest plate is like broken and falling off. Like that happened in the Mandalorian when he got hit by the Mudhorn. You know what I mean? The Mudhorn hits
Hmm.
it and his Beskar chest plate is like falling off of him, and he just like pulls it off him because it's useless anymore. Same thing with the
Hmm.
Yep.
Saiyans in Dragon Ball Z. They rip the shoulder pads off their armor because it's restricting their movement.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes more logical sense and more understandable.
Yeah. And it's like, because the idea is that weaker armor is going to get destroyed much quicker, and better armor is going to have a larger bar. That's why I went with the second health bar idea.
Yeah.
Plus, it makes your armor feel like it means more, because it's just like, I'm in full plate armor, and there's only two slits for the eyes. Yeah, but he rolled a 18, so he somehow stabs you through your armor with this little tiny piss dagger. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I am kitted out. I spent 800 gold on this set, and you're telling me this little piss dagger goblin manages to stab me through my chest plate?
Yep.
And if you're wondering why I'm so mad, it's because that actually happened to me once.
Yeah, I can bet.
God.
in
Fucking,
my
I
uh
was
in
I
in
was so fucking mad. You have no idea.
in my campaign that we run, that's traditional D&D to some extent.
Oh, you finally started
We
playing or DMing.
No, that's my friend. My friend DMs it,
Oh, okay.
actually.
I was about to say,
That
because I
was
remember
my
you. I
friend.
remember you talking about you wish to one day run D&D.
Yeah. So my friend went through it, and he went through the book and came up with a campaign and stuff. And I am playing a druid currently,
Ooh.
which everybody hates me because I'm a druid. And it's just like, but because the way that I set up my character and my friend allowed it, he allowed it so that I constantly have a companion.
As druids are their wont, they usually have like an
They,
animal companion of sorts.
exactly. And starting for me was a bear.
What kind of bear?
Now, brown bear.
Ah.
But we made it like half size
Why
brown
not
bear.
just have a black bear at that point?
Um, because I was level 1 and he was trying to minimize how broken it would be.
At the same, then just have a black bear instead of a brown bear. All the brown bears are bulkier. You know what I mean? All the
Well,
black bears
yeah.
are smaller. Just have a black bear.
So the way that I
the stats for such creatures exist in the monster manual.
Yeah, but he didn't want to use the monster manual because, as always, we have one friend who literally just has the monster manual constantly pulled up on his phone.
That's cheating.
Yeah, we hate him for it, but he won't stop.
That's actually cheating. Like, you can't have the game manuals open in front of you if you're a player. That's like a big no-no.
Unless it's the player handbook.
Unless it's the player handbook, yes.
Chan, I have a question.
What's up?
In terms of Monster Man. So your FC, you said you had that faction that likes to have intel and all that stuff, right? The one that's not doing so well and all that.
Say that again.
Would it be possible? Say again.
Say that again. Zeno?
You have that one faction. I forgot the name of it, but it's a faction that likes to get intel.
Oh, the Yontai Guild. It's a group of Yontai that work inside the Gilded City, and they do research on monsters.
Exactly, and since they do research on monsters, I was thinking, well, could you like go to them and get information on monsters, and thus not exactly having a monster manual, but you can get information.
Yes, actually, that's part of their existence. They exist to research monsters, and they publish their book. They publish a new book every single month about this is all the new discoveries we have about monsters. These are all the monsters we've seen in the area. This is what we know about them. This is how you kind of avoid dying to them. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking, because
they have basically all this concepts about they released the book on they released a new book about giant slaying. You know what I mean?
All right, that's cool. All right, because I was just wondering about that, because that would make things a little easier for me whenever I don't know something. I could just go to them and get some research on.
You're allowed to read the monster manual outside of a session, and but not during. You know what I mean? You can't look at all the monsters' weakness. Like, it's cool to know some trivia about a monster, but it's not cool to know everything there is to know about that monster. Like veterans, that's where it comes in hard, because you gotta be really, really keen with your encounters and know how to. We're just doing a D&D podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for the next 2 weeks it's just gonna be D&D podcast. Oh my god. Anyways, because there's enough on the topic to do 2 podcasts. You know what I mean?
Easily.
Anyways, so as I was saying, with veteran players, the hardest thing I find is tripping them up. You know what I mean? Veteran players that are veterans of 5 to 6 to 7 campaigns, and even sometimes more, upwards of 20 to 30. They have seen everything. They know the monster manual. They know roughly, how to get past things peacefully and avoid combat. They know, here's this trick for all of you new players out there that are new to D&D. Here's this trick to know if there's any slimes in a dungeon. You ask the dungeon master if you can perception check the floors. If the floors are clean, there's a slime. If they aren't and you put a slime in there, that shows you that the DM didn't do his homework.
I love that joke. I'm seriously though, I'm gonna be pulling that a lot now. That is a good trick.
Yeah, because here's the thing: slimes, they eat all of the inorganic and organic matter that's on the floor. Dust, stones, branches, sometimes metal, depending upon what kind of slime it is. You know what I mean? So if there's a slime in that dungeon and the floor isn't clean, that DM did not do his homework. He just put the slimes in there because they're a tough monster. Especially black puddings, because they're acidic. You know what I mean? They break down everything. You don't even get to see it being broke down, the ooze cubes, you know what I mean? Which you can still sometimes save people from those if they get trapped inside, because it's a slow acidic burn, you know what I mean? Which is the most terrifying thing when you come across an ooze and you see there's a skeleton on the inside of it. It's just eek. But
yeah,
I will say this. Probably the hardest thing to do with veteran players is to keep them on their toes and keep them guessing, because they've seen so much. They know all the stuff already. So that's when you're really pushed as a DM. The one time I was pushed as a DM was one time when I ran Giant's Crown, right? And what Giant's Crown is, it's basically kind of just like Skyrim, but instead of the Civil War, it's just the giants.
Nice. Okay.
I didn't steal the map of Skyrim. It's just that's what the the kind of world setting is. You know what I mean? So basically, you have to fight all these giants, and there's basically this whole giant civil war going on, and you're stuck in the middle essentially. And the whole deal about this is like the why I had so much trouble with this campaign is because I had two veterans on the adventuring crew, a new player and somebody who was a personal friend of mine, and he was I would say that he's DM'd before, so he already knows everything. You know what I mean? That campaign was hard for me to run and keep them on their toes because they already knew how to deal with giants. You know what I mean?
All right.
With the weapons they had available, it was tough, but they got to a point where it was like, they literally just forged the weapons they needed to kill giants. You know what I mean? Large chain blades that you throw at the giant and then you pull out, and they pull out like, flesh and things. You know what I mean? Basically, they're chain harpoons that you stick into them and then you pull on it to cause as much internal damage as possible. Then the giant dies of bleeding out. Doesn't work on stone giants though, but hey, it works on a bunch of them.
But wouldn't you be able to counteract the whole thing by creating your own monster variants, like having the same thing but giving them different?
I had my own monster variants of giants. You know what I mean? And that's where I was gonna get to that. Like, I had to push myself and create new variants of giants. You know what I mean? And that was rough because it's like I had only a week in between the session. And I had to basically slam out a bunch of different monsters. That kind of was where it came from. You know what? Fuck it. I'm adding Lionels to this campaign. and that's where the Lionel character sheet came from Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Boom knows all too well. Boom almost got cut in half by a Lionel in one of the other campaigns.
Correct, but did I end up with Lionel Brew at the end?
No. We're not talking about FZ. It was in Bandits, remember?
Oh, that thing.
Yeah. You all got your asses handed to you proper. Nick was the one that managed to kill it by mounting it on the back and stabbing it in the back of the head.
Nice.
It was a rough fight.
I had a lot of fun in Bandits. I mean, the last session I think I was in for Bandits.
You were in the we were in the dinosaur arc, remember?
Yes.
Which became Dinosaurs of the Wild West, which was kind of what that's because the idea in Bandits was that was never supposed to happen. There was supposed to be you're supposed to go to a new location and have like a new type of thing. It was supposed to be like kind of like the Far North in FC3. But I decided that I had Dinosaurs of the Wild West sitting on the shelf for so long that I just tested out, you know what I mean? And lo and behold, Dinosaurs of the Wild West is super popular.
I mean, I'm having a lot of fun, so yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the one time that I tried to, as an Aarakocra, be a bomber, just dropping dynamite.
Didn't it get caught in your clothes?
No, you didn't let me do it.
Oh yeah, because I said that's fucking stupid. It would blow up by the time it hit the ground. Or before it hit the ground, anyways.
Yeah, even though
unless you give it extended fuse.
It had modular fuses, so
the reason is because I was fucking refusing for you to just literally turn yourself into a B-17 because that's so stupid.
No, it's not stupid. It's smart. It would have worked. It would have worked. It would have been great.
You don't know Boom back in the day. If you give him any explosive object or anything that has a slight bit of power leveling to it, he goes fucking insane. You know what I mean?
I mean, you already went insane with the dynamite. So
he saved that. He's been saving that for months.
It's true. I saved that one stick of To Whom It May Concern for over a month.
Yes. So Boom has become much more like, what's the word? When you grow up and mature. Boom has become much more mature since his days in FC3, spending 8 million glint on a drill that no one uses.
Didn't we use it once?
You guys used it once to mine some under ore, and then you guys put it into the garage and never used it again.
The point of what were you even planning to do with the drill in the first place?
Tanka.
Really?
You want to know what he was planning to do? He's lying
What?
right now. His plan was to use the War Geyser, an airship they had, to drop the drill as it's spinning onto a dragon.
Actually, that's true. That was But for ground combat, you wouldn't let me put missiles on it.
Yeah, you tried to put missiles on it. You tried to put missiles and thrusters on it. I forgot about that bullshit.
I mean, dropping a drill on a dragon, it would work.
There's enough end on the back end to stick thrusters.
Yeah, there is, but you know how
you stick missiles.
Yeah, but I wasn't the one that told you no. Red was the one that told you no and never allowed you access to the vault any longer. You were banned from using the vault for I think a couple of weeks after that because you spent 8 million on that fucking drill when there was only like I think there was like 18 million in the vault.
No, it was like 10. It was less than 18.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that during the Hive Kingdom, so you guys were kind of really scrapped for cash.
Sort of. No, it was after that.
Oh yeah. So you guys weren't exactly scrapped for cash, but at the same time, you spent all of that money on a drill. Plus, it didn't even work at first. It was a clunker. So you had to get the fucking thing repaired, which was like another 2 million.
Yep.
So yes, excuse me if I didn't let Boom do a lot of his stupid things back in the day. Granted, some of them were brilliant. But most of them, like, I gave him... Okay, there was this bullet he had, right? It was a large shell, and it had, inside of it, a death plague virus. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's right. I did make that.
Yes. Boom fired it, and got in that one.
Yes!
Effectively killing him and another player at that very moment as they were fighting high-level vampires.
Yep.
That's me right there. That's me.
But they had gotten this gift out of a dragon's hoard. It was a platinum cross made in the visage of Bahamut, right? Or it was a platinum cross that had the visage of Bahamut on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What Boom did with this holy relic, he decided to pray to Bahamut. This fucker got a nat 20.
It's true.
So the dice bot simultaneously hates Boom and loves Boom.
Same here.
They almost died to those vampires I want to mention. They almost died.
It took 2 rolls. One roll was a 7, and the other was a nat 20 because it had 3 charges, so I had 3 chances of praying.
You fucking idiot.
I can't control if it rolls a nat 1 on the black
but it's
flag.
like, why would you even attempt to use that thing? It's
why
like
not?
super dangerous.
Why not?
That's the point.
Listen. You gotta let us be stupid to learn from it.
You don't know about all the crap Boom pulled in FC3. It's really
no,
bad.
I'm enjoying.
Boom actually downed the whole party by using a single move.
And that is
halitosis.
Boom had a slad, a very very stupid slad. And that slad knew the move halitosis. Basically, it's a like a dragon's breath, but instead of fire, it's like poisonous gas.
To clarify,
Boom did not realize. Boom rolled a nat 20. Boom did not realize where he was casting halitosis. He was casting it at the bad guy, and you want to know who was surrounding the bad guy? The entire party.
In a church.
In a small, confined area. So the gas didn't have anywhere to go but back inside the church. You want to know what's funny? The slad was immune to poison. Boom was behind the slad, so he was fine. Everyone else dead. Because when in FC3, when poison damage crits, you take all the poison damage right away, not over 3 turns. So everyone died. Everyone.
Including the bad guy, I will mention.
The bad guy died? Sure, but you sacrificed the whole party, Mr. Farquaad.
It's just a small price to pay.
I pulled them back up once it dissipated.
Yeah, but what if this was classic D&D? They probably would have gone into death checks.
Correct. This is why I didn't do that in classic D&D.
God. Boom. It's like
He's got his excuse.
Sometimes you shock me with how like you'll get yourself into so much shit and then somehow squeak your way out of it back in the day. You're better about it now, but oh my god, it was so infuriating.
Can I tell the story about the Nat 20 and why
You're
there was a
not
mountain
allowed
rule?
to.
Oh, come on.
You are not allowed to. That is still a strike against you, Boom.
I want to know.
Basically, Boom pulled some major bullshit, and I got mad about it.
Oh.
He's mad to this day about it.
He used a loophole and managed to basically roll a nat 20 on something with a loophole, and I was pissed about it.
Well, he did outsmart you with it then.
He didn't outsmart me with it. He gambled. He gambled with a loophole, and basically it turned out okay, which I was mad about. Mainly because I told him, what makes me so mad about it is not the fact he did it. What makes me so mad about it is that I told him if he fails, he dies, and he said, "See you guys on the other side," without even thinking about it. He was willing to throw away his character. He was willing to throw away his character for this, which makes me mad because, like, if he had rolled anything but that 20, his character would have been dead.
I thought about it for the past 45 minutes as we were walking through there.
What? You'd mount a blade dragon?
Or the behemoth.
God. If you had attempted to mount that behemoth, you would have died even with that nat 20.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Behemoths are unmountable.
Well, how would I have known that?
Exactly.
Yeah, because my character had the specific wording of you can mount any creature. And I had asked at a previous point in time.
Yeah, I said you can attempt.
No.
You can also fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Boom will never outlive this because he's the fucker who gambled everything on this one roll and managed to succeed. Normally, I'd be happy about it. What makes me so mad about it is that I told him he would die if he failed, and he didn't even hesitate. He threw his life away on that roll, and that's how I view it. He threw his life away on that roll.
But, you know,
he made it.
I'm still mad about it. I'll die mad about it.
I still remember
many DMs have the same policy and the same viewpoint on such rolls. When a player does something beyond bullshit with a nat 20, they'll die mad about it.
Yeah, because what can you do about it? The dice told you this capable now.
And that was the beautiful thing, was I'm sitting in my room late at night, and I
kicked him out of the session after that.
No, I went to bed.
Well, granted, I did kick you out of the session after that. It doesn't make me feel better. That's actually what happened. I kicked him out of the session, and I ended the session. I was that
mad. To be honest, I would have never thought. I would have never thought him to do this kind of stuff.
I didn't ban him from the campaign. No, I didn't. I just kicked him out of the session and just ended it there. I was that mad.
I just remember you yelling. I just remember the yell.
No, for real. I thought he was the more sensible one, but no.
I had literally made /roll d20 already off to the side. And I was just waiting for you to be like.
Are you fucking kidding me? You were okay with killing yourself that far back?
Yeah, I had it sitting there. I was just waiting for you'll die, but you can do it. Okay.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what makes me so mad. He had no reason to let his character live. He was willing to kill his character, start over. And why I'm so mad about that is that in FC3, we were at this for almost half a year at this point. His character had gone through so many upgrades, so much stuff, and he was willing to kill his character over this. Over this.
It was an adult Blade Dragon.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Oops.
Why do you have your camera on?
I don't know why. I was trying to do stuff. And now I don't know what I'm doing.
You have your camera on. Turn off camera should be like at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just trying to move my phone around.
That's gonna be good for the audio listeners. Because this entire podcast is audio based. We're not doing face cams yet. God's sakes.
I mean, I'd do it.
I wouldn't,
But
because
I refuse to show my face yet. My face. I'm gonna have a face reveal proper.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But and the current real life campaign I'm running with some friends. Besides the fact that so my friend literally just has to change all of the values for monsters and stuff. And we like are just like, what are you doing? Why do I keep the monster manual up for summoning as a druid for the challenge ratings.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And
which understandably you could do something like that, but at the same time, I still have a stigma about you should have no manuals open. The player guide, sure, but there should be no manuals open at the table. You know what I mean?
Like you can ask your DM.
In my case, it's only the challenge rating. I'm not like just scrolling through monsters as we do it. I'm looking at the challenge rating, like, can I summon this? Okay, and pull it up because he doesn't like to manage the stats on animals. He wants me to manage them.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing: as a DM, you have that index in the back that has all the normal animals in it. You know what I mean? You should be able, it's not that hard to flip it to the back of the book or put bookmarks in your book. Like what I do is I have sticky notes and I draw on the sticky notes as I stick to the page, so I know where everything is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So
like I did that for my Bioshock 2 game strategy guide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so we recently hit level 5, which gives me level 4 spell slots. We hit we're level 4 with our characters, so I got level 3 spell slots.
Alright.
Okay.
Which gives me conjure animals. Are either of you familiar with that?
Most part, yeah. I probably have a different version of it, but it's probably the same.
Conjure either 1 beast of CR2, 2 beasts of CR1, 4 beasts of CR half, or 8 beasts of challenge rating 1/4. And I control all of them. It gets better though, because at using a 5th level slot, I can summon twice as many. And then
nice.
7th is 3 times, and 9th is 4 times.
Okay.
So my favorite thing to do, which I have not been able to do yet because we hadn't met in the past couple weeks, but challenge rating 1 includes lion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which has a pack bonus.
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
Thing about basic animals in D&D, they're not really the best, but they're not the worst either. Like I have encountered many D&D sessions where players who are not quite understanding how dangerous normal animals are, like they get like absolutely bodied. Like okay, so there was one campaign. They basically had a dragon bite, right? And they give me a second, I had to stretch. There was this dragon fight, right?
All right.
And basically what happened was they did really well in the dragon fight, but later they encountered a T-Rex, and they got bodied. Like, it was tragic.
So here's the beautiful thing. I just realized I could summon 8 oxes and do an ox stampede on somebody.
God, why would...
I would love to hear if you did that.
This is the point at which the DM goes, oh, fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Because if I go and say, I would like 2 lions, and then I turn into a lion, and then I also have a bear next to me, which is magical, that respawns at every long rest. And you wonder why the rest of the party hates me.
Yeah, Mr. Fucking Pocahontas over there, feeling all the colors of the wind. Can you murder with all the colors of the wind?
which makes it so beautiful that like I have actually had to fight the rest of my party because they were trying to kill another party member for something the DM made him do.
It's like that one fucking scene in the Conan video game where the bear punches Conan in the face.
Yes.
No, doesn't claw at him. He literally just swings around. The bear punches Conan in the face.
That's him right there.
Okay. So, speaking of bears punching people in the face, we gotta talk about our sponsors today.
Oh boy.
Okay, give me a second here. I have to get the sponsor sheet.
To be fair, I didn't expect you to be the kind of person to go through all this crap.
All right. Let's see here. All right, you guys ready?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you guys like explosions?
Well,
Yeah.
of course.
You buy Torg. That's literally all it says.
Okay.
That's all the sponsor says. It just says "Fuck you, buy Torg." I was like,
I know it.
I called.
I know it.
I called the company to ask them, "Is this really what you want me?" And they just said yes, and hung up on me. Do you like explosions?
I know it.
Fuck you, buy Torg. Thank you, Isabel, for getting those. They also says on the sheet that you have to censor yourself because Torg is also censored. Also, it told me to read this disclaimer. Torg is not responsible for any self-damage caused by nuclear hot sauce, which I don't know what the fuck that means.
Nuclear hot sauce.
Yeah, fucking.
All I can assume is radioactive.
I assume the hot sauce splits the atom and explodes every time you put it on something. Knowing Torg, that's probably what happened. Anyways, use the code best of checkout at any of your local Galactic gun stores to get a 15% off of a green or white rarity Torg gun.
Thank you.
Remember, use code best of nothing. We really, really enjoy your business. Oh my god. I gotta get better sponsors. Last week I was sponsored by at least I was sponsored by Gatherer's Garden last week. You know what I mean? But this week it's just like I couldn't get Wainwright on the phone. I don't know where he is. I couldn't get Andrew Ryan on the phone. So I approached the Torg and he just asked me, "Do you like explosions?" I said yes, and he said, "Okay, you're sponsored."
Well, I mean that's one way to do things.
I guess.
Certainly.
At least the second sponsor I got for this week is better, which we'll get to later.
Yes. Although we were in a boss fight the week before last in this real campaign, and there was a secret stone door in the wall that was 75 feet away.
You must have been having PTSD at the secret stone door in the wall.
A little bit.
Explain.
No one does. Remember when I was telling you about the ancients? And how there's that one door in the Underdark that's just unlocked?
Cries.
Cries!
Wait. Hold on. Alright.
Trust me.
There's a stone door in the Underdark. Don't go through it.
Dare tell him what's in there.
Just don't go through it.
That makes me want to go through it even more. Not gonna lie, but I'll
Just
avoid
don't go
it.
through it.
Boom, it's hazing. We have to always shove the new players through that door.
No.
It's basically the equivalent of hazing, because the Underdark arc is always the second big arc you do in FC3. So, like, you have to go to the Underdark for some reason. It could be a myriad of reasons, but you have to go down there. And there's a stone door after the first town in the Underdark, which, by the way, I know what you're thinking. Town in the Underdark? There's, well, I wouldn't call them safe havens, but they're the only relatively safe places in the Underdark, basically how I do it. I've
Okay.
been to the Underdark a couple of times, and other than being like, like there's different types of monsters down here, I never really got that feeling of we are miles beneath the surface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are miles beneath the surface, and the best you can give me are just new monsters. I mean, how I did the Underdark is I basically base it a lot off of Darkest Dungeons and just that feeling of just constant dread and constant like worry about what is around you. Like the fact that in the Underdark you start to take stress damage, like in the Darkest Dungeon. But not
Nice.
only that, but you start to suffer like effects, and the only way to cure it is with morality boosting companions or by decking out the land train with certain objects. You know what I mean? Also, alcohol can relieve stress. Having someone to like be there to basically sing a merry tune and help everyone like recover.
Like having a jester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about the Underdark though is that the way I do it is like I try to make it like that constant feeling of dread, because I always like the concept. It's just like there's this shithole plane of existence underneath our feet that no one likes going into, and is constantly a bed of death.
Huh. Well, that kind of thing would be a little bit more my specialty on how to create feeling of dread. So if I ever
New dragons. I made an entirely original type of dragon that lives down there.
Oh, goody.
Didn't we get eggs of them?
You did. In the first run of FC3, you guys actually managed to grab a couple eggs. It's a shame that we never got to the point where they were like adult.
Because that would have been terrifying.
Well, they also would have been rough for them, because Underdark dragons like succeed in the dark. They're not good when they're out in the light. You know what I mean? Considering which, Nocturne dragons are very much glass cannons when you really think about it, because since they haven't been on the surface, they don't have all the resistances that other dragons have. They have different resistances to fight the monsters down in the Underdark. They're sort of the apex predators down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of have this weird thing that like sperm whales have. Like, you know how sperm whales will go dive deep down in search of colossal and giant squid.
Okay. Yeah.
These dragons will do the same thing, but instead of squid, it's mind flayers.
Oh God. No. I still don't exactly know what mind flayers are. So what exactly do they look like? Or...
Oh, I know you like the Cthulhu aspect. So.
Oh yeah. I'm. Here's an idea of what I'm thinking. I'm
Imagine
thinking of the,
a very very
brain
tiny,
sucker.
a very very tiny human-sized looking Cthulhu without the wings. You have a mind flayer.
Okay, so yeah, I was kind of getting the right idea.
They use psionics, and they are very difficult to take down if they are a decent level. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, and then give them magic.
They always no. Actually, mind flayers don't actually use magic. Normal mind flayers, they use psionics. It's sort of the weirdo, like, get the fuck out of here, Gary, with that magic shit. What are you, a fucking deviant? Like, that's how mind flayers view magic. You know what I mean? Or the arcana. It's all psionics for them.
That's what I was thinking. I was getting the feeling of the Bloodborne brain suckers. That's sort of what I like see when I think of mind flayers.
Really? Here, Boom. Can you give him a picture of mind flayer real quick?
Sure. Give me one hot minute.
I'll post it in the D&D chat, so you can all see it as well. But I'm pretty sure everyone watching this D&D like podcast now is like, well, yeah, I know what a mind flayer is. Or there's probably a couple new players that are like, what the hell's a mind flayer? And why should I be afraid of it?
Yeah,
well, you should be afraid of it.
Nothing like that good old move they have in the Monster Manual that always makes me yuck. The whole remove brain attack, which is an instant kill if he succeeds in it.
Podcast topics.
Okay. Yep, it's right there, Cletus. That's a mind flayer.
All right. Okay, that looks pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that, despite knowing that it's going to murder me very quickly.
They are the bane of all existences, and there are the two most worst things you can run into the Underdark is a Mind Flayer and a Nocturne Dragon. Those are the big two. You know what I mean?
The top, yeah, okay.
They are the most dangerous things in the Underdark, and you don't want to run into either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is funny because the whole concept of why Nocturne Dragons exist in the first place is because it's a Mind Flayer experiment. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Basically, what happened is that in the lore, basically a female black dragon and a male silver dragon were brought into the Underdark, and the whole idea was to combine chromatic and metallic dragon to make a new super dragon, essentially, right? Or to make a new, more powerful dragon. And the Mind Flayers were going to use this to basically wreak terror on the Underdark. What they weren't counting on was a group of adventurers busting into the hive and accidentally freeing both of them. They both broke out, and they both killed most of the Mind Flayers, and the adventuring party barely got out there with it alive, essentially. And then came the age of the Roaring Darkness, which is ages in FC 3 are represented by cool names. So the age of Roaring Darkness was basically the age when those two dragons were trapped in the Underdark, and they were constantly either fighting each other or flying around trying to escape. Eventually, though, the long, cold dark of the Underdark is, well, very oppressive, and these two dragons, being trapped down there for so long, decided that, well, there is no way out. You know what I mean? This was before the Great Cliff Face fell in one of the Dragon Wars, and there was actually a way to get out into the ocean in the Underdark. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's why they were completely trapped down there.
Alright, that makes
Because the section of the Underdark near the Gilded Kingdom goes on for a long time, but there are places where it's like, you know, there's no way, like, it's effectively like its own patch, because there are patches of Underdark, you know what I mean? It's not just all empty underneath the main layer, you know what I mean?
Alright.
Some patches are really big, some patches are really small. It just depends, you know what I mean? Like, some are the size of a county, some are the size of like a whole state, some are the size of a country. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It really just all depends
cool.
on how things shook out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But eventually, they set aside their differences and stopped trying to kill each other. And from there, it came to, well, the breeding season came along, and, well, there's no one else around. Sadly enough, though, when chromatic dragons and metallic dragons breed, it always doesn't turn out right. It doesn't make like a half and half dragon. It makes a new type of dragon.
Okay.
That's why it's very, very illegal in the concepts of the metallic and chromatic dragons to ever crossbreed.
Yeah, it creates some sort of, well, mutant hybrid, I guess.
Exactly.
Something that shouldn't be allowed.
It doesn't create a half and half. It creates a hybrid. And the thing about dragons, they are very good to evolving to where they live. So when these new hybrid dragons evolved, and they kept evolving over like the course of thousands of years, Nocturne dragons came to be. With the abilities of both black and silver dragons.
Huh.
They also picked up bioluminescence for communication, and also incredible smelling and sight skills. They can see in the Underdark as if it was clear as day, which makes them incredibly dangerous.
Yep.
And that's the I just realized as I just explained this whole thing to you, like, that's really the fun of D&D and being a DM. You know what I mean? You get this idea, you write the story and lore behind it, you make it reality. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what, like, I wouldn't say I would be a DM, but I like the idea of making a universe under what you like and the things you
And then
enjoy.
I have the fun as the player
to destroy
ruin it.
To attempt to ruin it. Every time you tried some bullshit boom, you were immediately put back into your place because it was a bad idea. Shall I bring up the premier sin of you doing this?
I don't remember that name.
The premier sin, or the first sin that Boom committed against D&D, in my recollection, was they were in a dungeon owned by the Hellwalkers Guild, basically a guild that specializes in demonic affluence and demonic powers.
I remember them.
This, I'm not going to call you dumb, Boom, because in truth, you had no idea of what was going to happen. But at the same time, you should have been able to read the room. He had this idea. They were in this chamber with all these blood-stained glass mirrors projecting light. Mind you, they were about a mile under the surface. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
They were a mile under the surface, and these stained glass windows were casting light into the room without any light source.
All right.
There was an altar, a strange, horrid, very, very powerful altar emanating. You could literally see the energy spilling off of it. Covered in tentacles.
All right. Yeah, you shouldn't touch that.
Now, the rest of the party smartly goes, we're not getting near that. Boom and another person, I forget, had the brilliant idea, no, let's activate it.
Nick.
It wasn't Nick, it was the weird furry guy.
Oh!
McCoy, I think his name was?
Yeah, McCoy.
Yeah, fucking McCoy. McCoy was another strange one, all in and of itself as well. Anyways, why we call him the weird furry guys? Because like we all kind of he kind of joked around that he was a furry, but would always like be like, ha nah. But he would always like he was a strange person.
He always had the hesitation of actually I really am.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a strange person, but anyways, so Boom and McCoy had this brilliant idea of, let's activate the altar and see what happens. Door slams, shuts, unlocks, and it summons basically a eldritch horror from beyond the cosmos.
It was a shambling horror.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes.
Because I lack restraint.
That's on them. I'm pretty sure all of us who at least played Darkest Dungeon, the first time you saw those things, you slapped your torch on it. You wouldn't even think about it. You just slapped it on there.
I didn't actually. I looked at it and I was like, nah. I'll do that. I'll do that another time. And then the one time I did it, I actually was fucked because Reynold was in the party and he was super low. But that was before. That was back when if you quit after a move, it would actually boot you up to the last previous move. So I just kept quitting and reloading until I was able to just escape the shambling horror, which I was able to run from it actually.
That's cheeky, but at least it works.
It worked, but I think they patched it out since.
They did patch it out at that point.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, good job summoning the Eldritch Horror.
Not only that, it basically summoned a bunch of portals and shoved him into one of them. Now, how these portals work is that they're set to a bunch of random locations, and I roll a dice based on which portal you're being thrown into to see where you end up. This unlucky bastard wound up in the Underdark alone. Then he threw a fit about being down there, and it's like, it was your fault, man. Granted, Boom was much younger at the time, and this was like his first time playing D&D, to my recollection. So,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, so he really didn't have the concept of, well, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think the main part was I think he thought the party wasn't coming down for him.
Yeah, that was kind of the big thing. Because they kind of acted like, well, we'll get him eventually, or he'll die. Whichever comes first.
Yeah.
So, I did do one good thing in that entire campaign, though.
What?
Remember Myagan?
Oh, yeah, you brought the yellow dragons back from extinction.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yellow dragons are a very, very interesting concept that's actually in canon D&D. Yellow dragons are basically a dragon that doesn't fall under the command of Tiamat or Bahamut, you know what I mean? Since Tiamat doesn't have a yellow head, she can't control yellow dragons, and since yellow dragons are not metallic, they do not fall under the command and the, like, influence of Bahamut. So they're an entirely neutral party, and yellow dragons are sort of representative of all the crossed hybrid dragons that exist in the world, at least to me anyways. They're very interesting creatures, and they possess a, well, how do I want to describe this? To me, they possess. You know how dragons can sometimes possess magic.
Mhm.
Well, yellow dragons in FC3 possess other types of magic. You know what I mean? Like chi, like miracles, like hexes. You know what I mean? Magic that dragons would not, and psionics from time to time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So basically, yellow dragons have all the other types of magic that dragons don't even touch.
Mhm. That is cool.
Yep. But speaking of throwing a fit, Xeno showed me recently Double King.
Oh right. I it's an interesting video. I should say that at least.
It's interesting, but I feel like more people need to watch it, even though
It's really
quite a few
good.
million people have watched it. It's
Yeah, it's really good animation too. I mean,
yeah.
it's one guy doing it because it's just something he likes to do. And he spent, I think,
It also
2 years on it.
it also gave us the best meme ever.
Yes, I'm still obsessed with the meme, and it definitely blew up on the internet. So
It's so
every other video on my YouTube recommend list is some guy making the E video.
I might
I love it.
like my first time being introduced to that was but it's and it's just like ah.
uh, that's great. Yeah, I saw that one. That one's great.
God.
Uh,
If you don't know what we're talking about, Boom, please watch Double King.
please, you gotta
I'll watch it later.
That's great.
watch it now. I want to hear your reaction. To be honest,
We're
I mean,
in
we
the
could all watch
podcast,
it.
Xeno.
Fine.
The
After,
podcast will
maybe.
be over in like another hour because we're 5 minutes in. We have another hour to go.
All right.
Really? I thought we were doing an hour and a half normally.
Yeah, we can go like an hour and a half. It's fine. We don't
I mean,
we don't have all 3 people here. I mean, I don't have 3 people here, including myself, so we don't have 4 people here. So we can go like an hour and a half. That seems fair.
We can go half or until we just don't really have anything to talk about because you've got the stories.
Well,
and
really, we're
all
just
that.
sort of talking about D&D, which was what this podcast was supposed to be. We're talking about D&D.
Yeah.
and I get the fun of regaling the tales of my druid.
Yeah.
And you have just
Which-
me asking the questions.
I
Yeah.
pulled a similar BS move to what I did with that dragon with another dragon
You need
that
to
was
stop
sat
bringing
in front
that
of
up, Boom.
No, this was one.
I get it,
But,
I get it, but you need to stop bringing that up before I get mad again.
You absolute mad lad.
I'll die mad about it.
he's got big mount energy.
Okay, guess he's getting banned. He's gone now. Gone forever.
Damn it, man. We actually like that one.
Alright, I'll bring it back. Have you learned your lesson?
Not really, no.
Man after my own heart.
Time for lightning storms in Dynasty.
No. Okay, I learned.
as I reach for my dice container.
I am terrified of those thunderstorms, not gonna lie.
Well, that episode isn't gonna be up for a while, so you want to tell people what happened. Actually, no, wait, your bad day was posted. Everyone knows what happened.
Yeah,
post. But for those who might not watch it,
do you want to talk about your feelings?
my feelings for that, all hopes and dreams were shattered within a moment. that's the short of it, but that really shows you just what can really happen in D&D.
Yeah.
It was my only first time playing it, so yeah.
You had no idea what happens when the DM rolls a nat 1 on weather.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that if it was anything other than that 1, he probably would have survived because, a 2 would have been just like right in front of him, right next to him. The problem with that is that you have this lightning strike, right? And even though 150 damage isn't enough to kill him because he has more health, the problem is with that lightning strike how much damage it did to him and how much bodily damage it did to him. You can kill a dinosaur with a full health bar so long as you do enough bodily damage to it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, it was put
Like,
out
you
of
just gotta
commission.
hit the
or
right
something.
spot.
If a dinosaur breaks its leg, that's kind of it for it, unless it receives medical
Exactly.
attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But for him, he was just he was gone. I didn't even get to bond with him.
his entire hip and part of his rib cage were pretty much destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that was a point blank lightning strike.
At least they got his tooth to remember him by. But
God
yeah.
says fuck this dinosaur in particular. I fear the day you ever have to fight a Therizinosaurus though, because those things are hard to kill. If you're trying to use a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Since they have those big claws that have the riposte move, that any attempted dinosaur attack on them, they can immediately like riposte it or like try parry it.
Excuse me, a parrying dinosaur?
Yeah, that's what the Therizinosaurus was known for, the giant horrible claw. Basically, any dinosaur that would come at them, they just like slash with their claws, and the dinosaur would go, "Whoa, fuck that!"
Best shit I'm out.
There's the I think Running from Dinosaurs special, where running from dinosaurs, not walking with, where the guy is looking for the Therizinosaurus and he finds out, oh, it's a plant eater, and then this T-Rex comes along like, oh, I'm gonna eat this thing, and the Therizinosaurus just literally bitch slaps it with his claws, and the thing's just like, ah, fuck that, I'm leaving.
Have you
literally pulls a I like a cut G.
I like your save G.
Have you seen the screw that one guy in particular spell?
Oh, there's one of those.
There is.
Yeah, Touch of Death.
Tell me.
Nope, the screw that one guy in particular spell.
What are you
Specifically
talking about?
named screw that one guy in particular.
I've never heard about this. This is fan made, I think.
It is fan made. It is a bolt of light that streaks from the sky to strike one creature within range. This creature is determined by the DM and must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 3d10 lightning on a failed save.
You know what's really fucked up about Lionels? They can dodge lightning strikes. Just naturally, they can just dodge it.
That's pretty cool.
Boom!
The spell gets better though.
Yeah, hang on. I think I have a picture of a Lionel saved up. I'll show you what a Lionel is.
All right.
Have you ever played Breath of the Wild?
No, but I've seen some videos of it and all that, so I have a general idea.
This is a Lionel.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, they're centaurs basically, but they're like lion centaurs.
Okay, that would explain.
Yep, they're big, they're mean, and they're huge. By the way, like they are proper massive. Let me see if I have that famous size comparison video or picture of like Link like squaring up to a Lionel. It's just like looking at him, and he's like having to arch his back backwards to keep eye contact with the fucking thing.
That almost happened in my real life campaign.
Player with 5 HP left.
Because my friend went and said, oh, I'm going to put a golem on the side of a bridge that they have to cross.
Ooh.
Except he changed the damage on a golem.
Okay.
As DM is wont to do.
All right.
And every hit did 4d8 damage.
Is he insane?
Strength. We were also level 2.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with your DM?
He wants death and destruction.
Like he one-knocked me, and if our bard didn't have a thunder spell, we would have all died.
There's a difference between like playing and altering like values and actually fucking over your whole crew.
In his defense, this was our second session, and he did not kind of think it through all the way.
You gotta think that shit through. Like it's fucking stupid.
Well, maybe he did think it through, but he didn't realize how it would actually turn out through experimentation.
Like you always run a test like throw a couple of like you
Hmm.
grab a couple of what's the word? You grab a couple of like pre-made character sheets and you put them up against whatever it is you're doing it to. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
if you fucking I can't even like level 2?
Oh, I was yelling at him very loudly.
Like that should that should be illegal. And in before everyone's like I could do that.
No, you can't.
Exactly. Fucking I hate it. That's my biggest thing where it's like you find something that's totally should be illegal in the campaign and lo and behold, you get that one asshole like this is doable. It's not. It very much isn't. This whole thing should be fucking illegal.
Like
God.
me, having 3 lions and a bear in combat.
That's utter bullshit though because like you're actually using a loophole there.
Oh, for pack tactics?
Yeah.
I think he's being
Yeah,
smart.
kinda. I mean, when you think about it, pack tactics just says at least one of the lion's allies is within 5 feet of the creature.
Found it. I found the famous size comparison image that I always post whenever I show a Lionel. Here it is.
I love that.
It's just I love this image because Link is like arcing his back to like keep eye contact with the fucking thing. Also 3 hearts. Just 3 hearts.
Yeah, he's screwed. And he
Yeah.
knows it.
Oh God, Lionels, why are you so vicious? Like they're my favorite mob. I won't say mob, but they're my favorite creature from Breath of the Wild, just because they're the only thing that's worth your time to fight. Like that and the ancients after a certain point. Like after a certain point, the basic mobs don't bother me anymore. I mean, yeah, they have
Mhm.
more health and they hit harder, but it's like it's just boring. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
want big things to fight. Like like even at a point, the Phoenixes aren't a problem.
Mm. Okay.
That's just my opinion, though.
I mean, it's understandable. They just don't pose a challenge, so it's not really fun if you just slap them across the face and they perish.
Like Kutchi.
uh,
Link just says it like he's really tired. Like I like you, Kutchi. Yeah.
yeah. I
God,
think
we are so stupid.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the easiest way to entertain me is bring up any form of memes, because, well, I do nothing with my free time other than browse Instagram, so
Yeah.
memes it is.
No, the beautiful thing about our current campaign is that
Mhm.
I can turn into a lion. And the bad guy was trying to escape and was like 70 feet away through a stone door.
Too bad it's a lion.
I was gonna say, you know what a lion's max movement is, don't you?
I mean, they can't break through a fucking door, but
You can if you body it.
yeah, but it's a stone door. You can't break through that. Your DM
Unless you're strong.
like
Unless I rolled a nat 20.
unless you're using a golden. Oh wow. Unless you're using one of the golden lions though, which that was Nick's fucking. Remember that's Nick's mission in every single D&D campaign we ever run ever.
Yep.
To find
Find
all the figurines because
all the figurines.
here's a house rule I have. If you gather all the figurines of Wondrous Power, you can do a ritual that will not destroy all of them, but it'll combine all their power to make the Diamond Dragon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. It won't destroy all the figurines, but it'll combine them together.
Mhm.
Creating
And
one of the most broken, almost unkillable creatures.
And
well,
is it
if its
on
health
your
pool goes
side?
to 0, it unsummons itself. You know what I mean? Plus, every time you start a ritual, there's a shockwave that enters the world that lets every nearby dragon know that this ritual is going on, and every nearby dragon comes to wreck your shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, if you're trying to make the Diamond Dragon?
Yes. Just to
Huh.
balance it, you know what I mean? Because after
Yeah.
a certain point in FC3, you have enough money to just buy all the figurines again and again, you know what I mean? I mean, granted, no, it's hard to have a complete set, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, oh, that stone door was also getting hit by a black dragon youngling.
A hatchling?
Youngling.
Okay, I was about to say. A wervling, you mean to say.
Yeah, wervling.
That's still not that big. I mean, how old was the wervling?
I think like 2 months.
That's not enough. Wervlings don't grow that much in 2 months. I mean,
It was big enough that
granted,
it had fire breath.
it would fire. Oh, right. Wait, no.
Black
Black
dragons.
dragons have acid. That's a house rule for my campaign. I give all the dragons like basic fire breath along with whatever breath they have, just because I
No,
find it to be.
this is my friend. Like he put the black dragon in it, and I'm just like, okay.
That's
The only
strange.
way that I was able to convince it was with a 19 followed by a 20. And my friend just goes, wait. So, and all of my friends just go, wait, we have a black dragon following us now?
It's just a wervling, so it's not really like that good. I mean, wervlings are incredibly easy to kill, despite what a lot of people think. You know what I mean? Like, dragon babies are incredibly vulnerable when they are wervlings. Like, if you had an axe, you could kill a wervling. If you had a dagger, you could kill a wervling. And they're not that hard to kill. So, when you do have one in your party, it becomes the must protect child day.
Correct. But it still does 5d8 damage.
Yeah, it's still something better than nothing.
We're level 4.
It's still something's better than nothing, especially at level 4. Like, here's the thing. I've seen players get very, very big for their britches just because they get a couple levels under their belt. It's really easy to die in D&D. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
Like 5d8 would one-shot my character.
Exactly. And classic D&D is not as forgiving as me, where I allow like a timer before you have to go into a death check.
Yeah. You have to be stabilized in original D&D within, is it 1 or 2 turns?
It's like classic D&D was 1 turn. It's now 2 turns.
Yeah, with 5e.
Yep.
Oh,
That was brutal
That's
back.
brutal.
And back in like original D&D, you didn't get a stabilization. You just died.
Yep.
Ooh.
I mean, you still had your death. You still had your death checks, but you would still you wouldn't get a stabilization chance. You know what I mean? Like if your health reaches 0 for whatever reason, you just go into a death check.
Okay. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
But then I'm used to games that are that hard, so to me it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, sure your character dies, but at least you get to create something new and try out something else.
My favorite story that back when I worked at Walmart, a girl I worked with, she told me this amazing story about someone whose character died within the first combat encounter. He took his character sheet, wrote Junior on his named character, and he just ran in saying, "I am here to avenge my father."
I was actually I was gonna do something sort of like that. If my character had died during our last session, I was gonna make a new character that's gonna be pretty similar, but instead it's storyline. Well, not storyline, but it'd be towards. Well, I guess not avenging my last character, but following in his footsteps and trying to pick up where he left off.
So your son.
And I was gonna, yeah, wow. Pretty much.
That's such a Red Dead thing to do, though.
Exactly. I was thinking, this seems kind of cheesy, but it's so Red Dead that I kind of wanted to follow along with it.
I still say my favorite moment out of the whole Red Dead series is killing that Pinkerton agent, and then you just see oh god, what's the kid's name? Jack. You see Jack Marston just standing there looking at his gun. Then he just starts to walk away, and then it says Red Dead Redemption. Then you get the credits. It's just like, yeah, that's the shit.
Although
Jack avenged everyone at that moment. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Still kind of sucks though, because like they disavowed that and said that's not happening. The whole Red Dead remake.
Mhm.
And that made me very mad because I'm like, a Red Dead remake would be the shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they have everything there. All they have to do is just like kind of like re-record some lines, and add Mexico back into the game. Which I never understood why Mexico was never available. I guess it's because like John Marston never went to Mexico before that.
Probably.
I will say though, on my original character, I did do something very dumb.
And that is.
With my druid, the first bestiary I looked up for druids
Mhm.
was kind of Pathfinder challenge rating.
Mhm.
Which that versus 5e, very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Speaking of that, to make sure you're running 5e on your FC, right? Or something around that.
FC3 is unique in the fact that it doesn't run off of any preconcept. Like, it runs off of multiple different types of D&D, but 5e
Alright.
is kind of like the... How it works is that
Like the
FC3 is for
backbone, I
people...
suppose.
But yeah, basically FC3 is for people who have played a bunch of D&D, and they can
Mhm.
make assumptions and make connect the dots from there. It's not really a type of... It's based off of 5e. It's based off of a whole ton of things and a whole different ton of, like,
I think that would be good,
concepts
because
in
I was
RPGs.
thinking.
You know what I mean? It's sort of
Yeah,
like
I was.
the idea of FC3 is it's called Fantasy Zone for a reason. It's called Fantasy Zone because it's the fantasy that you're creating for yourself. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, it has all that freedom. Because I was just checking so that if I get Monster Manual, I'd at least know.
That's why, and this is always very, very tiring. But every character gets their own character arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not every NPC, but every adventurer gets their own character arc. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everyone gets a character arc where they're in the spotlight, where it's all based around them, their backstory and everything. Which is why
Yeah.
I do demand that people write up a backstory when I start FC3.
Okay. Yeah.
To give me ammo so I can hurt your character.
Oh God! So you can hurt him at the most precious spots.
I don't mean to bring up Bandits, but I'll just say it like this: like, there was a person in Bandits that basically they gave me their backstory, and they were shocked where in the next session I had their backstory already coming into play into the main story, and they're like, "What? What? I wasn't ready for this yet." Well, too bad. They're already here for you.
Oh my God!
They were being chased by their race for stealing an artifact.
Oh my God!
And they literally showed up in the swamp, like, asking around for that person's name, and they had almost like a not a mental breakdown, but they were like, we gotta leave, we gotta go.
I would have done the same thing. I would have not known how to react to that, like something happening so quickly.
Yeah,
But I'm impressed.
I've sort of toned it down for I've sort of toned that down since, because I kind of realized like the story evolves as the players play it.
Mhm.
It doesn't fall on me to make all the story beats, which
Mhm.
is kind of like taking a lot of stress off my shoulders, because in FC3 it sort of falls on me to make a bunch of the story beats, but I've sort of just learned to chill out since then.
Yeah, that's good. I'm still gonna go along with that golem idea that you've had. So I'm gonna have to actually start
The
thinking
what?
about some stuff for that. The what was it
Oh,
called?
Golem! I thought you said
Yeah.
Gollum, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, golem.
Gollum. Like, I was like, why the what? Where did Lord of the Rings get brought into this?
And
Yeah.
what was that new class you were trying
Boom,
to tell Cletus about?
have you seen fucking a comment on the D&D video? Yeah, so basically someone commented on the most recent D&D episode that they called you, I believe, an Egg Smeagol Golem.
Me?
No, they
No,
called
me.
Boom that. Because
Okay.
literally in the first episode of Dinosaurs of the Wild West, they raid a super croc nest and they almost get
Mhm.
killed, but they manage to steal an egg. And Boom's like, "This is my precious egg. I love it."
I love that. That's great.
Literally, his whole character development was kind of strange weirdo person to I am full weirdo.
Mhm.
Which has now evolved into
Mysterious stranger,
tell anyone and you're dead.
Yeah.
pretty much. Which I know you love because you love your edge characters.
I mean, I'm trying to not be that edgy.
You're doing okay, I will say. More than okay. You're doing just fine.
Mhm. Like you're coming off in the correct way. You're not seeming too edgy, but you're being as cautious as you are and being mysterious, I suppose.
Which Boom loves that character archetype. He loves being a mysterious character.
Mhm.
Which is why I hated I didn't get to finish Jermaine.
We'll get around to the next run of Bandits eventually. Jeez.
But I
Oh
won't.
right.
We're playing
Chan.
Wild West right now. You're saying, please?
Yeah.
I can kind of make a tank in the Wild West.
You could theoretically. I mean, it would make sense if, and that makes sense. But I can see that happening.
Closest thing you have is like an armored wagon, which would go to shit the second your dinosaur dies.
Or putting a big gun on Ankylosaur, and that way you have a tank.
That already exists. What
Exactly.
I explained to you, they did that in the Civil War with dinosaurs. They put Maxim guns.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the closest thing.
They put Maxim guns and Gatling guns onto the behind the crest of a Triceratops and shot at the top of the crest. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Of course, it was very difficult to do this kind of thing because the dinosaur would have to go back eventually to reload because you usually need a team of 4 to run a Maxim gun.
Okay. But
The Brontosauruses, those were the ones that had the platforms where they had a whole bunch of guns on them.
Mhm. I get a lot of Ark Survival vibes from that because you can do that on some of the dinosaurs where you can literally build something on top of them and then put cannons on them.
Yeah.
But right, the question was, Red wanted to know what class you were thinking of.
Oh, Boom did?
No, me. Yeah, I was curious.
It's called the Golem Smith.
Is it for
FC3.
Fantasy Zone?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know all my character concept or class concept ideas go into FC3 and not anything else at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is true.
Because I'm not gonna throw something like that into Bandits and just see if it works. I throw it to FC3 and see if it works.
That's true. As much as I wish we would throw that into Bandits.
You
or
fucking
something.
wish. That's not a class. That's just a job that people have. Because Bandits is classic D&D and subclasses of D&D only. So in being a barbarian, part of the barbarian subclassing is bounty hunter. You know what I mean?
Or as I was originally, just bounty hunter.
Yeah, you were just a bounty hunter, but you didn't take the barbarian subclasses. You just took the class bounty hunter, which you can do.
Mhm.
But anyways,
it went pretty well.
It did go pretty well. You got very good at it. You know what I mean?
The hook hurt.
Yes, it did.
It was a mechanical hook that had been made for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a little bit about it, and it was a really, really strong hook.
Well, yeah, because the bounty hunter class that I made was based off of Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, I already got the sense of that when you mentioned barbarian. The first thing I can think of is the move uppercut.
Yeah. I still say that Darkest Dungeon is great, but it's also a meme shithole because I still love because here's the thing: you go onto the player creations and it's just you want the sexy vest still that has no clothes on. It's like, can you not?
Or you have the cheap posing leper.
The cheap posing leper. Okay, as much as I hate it, it's great.
Exactly.
Because there's no other class besides I think the what's the dude with the mace and the shield? What's his class?
Shit, he's
Man at
got a
Arms,
specific
Man at
name for-
Arms.
Yeah, Man at Arms. Yeah.
Like, there's only one other class, and that's a Man at Arms I can think would be asserting dominance.
Oh yeah, and they changed their post name to No You.
God, of
I
course
love
they
it.
did.
I love. Yeah, it's a meme shit.
You know what I would do to cheap out the fucking cannon boss?
What?
I would just bring like 4 grave robbers.
What? Yeah, what I did with that was I
4
brought
grave robbers and stack that fucking dodge.
What I did with that was I brought the shield breakers shield breakers. I brought 2 of them, and I just kept making them.
I still have to go
do.
back to Darkest Dungeon and try out those 2 new classes, the marksman and the shield breaker.
Marksman isn't any different from Arbalest. It's just slightly changed up, but it's practically the same thing, just a little different.
Yeah, but what's more useful, a gun or a fucking miniature ballista?
Both, actually.
They
both do.
I still say a gun is way more useful.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Plus, why the fuck does all of their opening comics, why are they all so fucking depressing?
Well, that's
Because
that's
Darkest
the point.
Dungeon.
I get that's the point, but some of them are way too overly depressing for their own good.
Chan, now that you're saying that, I don't know if you know, but they made a multiplayer update. You can't PvP now.
I know, and I hate the idea of like having to throw away some of my good heroes for a fucking just to try and nay on some kid. I don't want to run the risk of losing my level 4 or level 5 fucking like antiquarian or man at arms or fucking highwayman just because I'm trying to nay on some kid. I hate that idea.
You aren't losing any characters because it's entirely separate, but you can earn rewards that go to the main game.
Okay, never mind then. That's okay because I thought like, who the fuck would do PvP in a thing that has permadeath?
Exactly. Yeah, but it's great.
Like when I heard they're making a multiplayer update, I'm like, oh great, yeah, let me just try nay on some kid and get nay myself. Yep. Oh, there goes my Hellion. Oh fuck, what am I gonna do? I was like mad. I was hoping for another like hero, but no, they gave us a fucking like multiplayer mode.
Mode was a great addition to content because it added a lot of relics in the main game as well. So it wasn't too bad.
But at the same time, like all the DLC they brought up for Darkest Dungeon was like slam dunk after slam dunk. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that fucking Blood Court DLC was radical.
Oh, dude, I still love it. Despite that it's not really randomly generated, it's still pretty damn great up regardless.
Like I love the concept of like, okay, there's a new thing you have to worry about, blood.
Blood.
Just blood.
But it can hurt you or it can do so well with the right people.
Exactly. So make sure you got your vial of blood, asshole.
Yeah, and then there's Darkest Dungeon 2 being made right now, so it's gonna be really good.
I love my favorite meme. I don't have it on me, but it's like Dismas, and he's putting the ancestor up against a locker, and it just says, "What the fuck did you do this time?" It's like my favorite
I love that.
ever. Cause like, what the fuck did you do this time, man?
That's great. I love that.
One
of the things that I find interesting is I actually follow the artist for Darkest Dungeon, and for someone who makes a lot of grotesque and horror elements, they draw a lot of cute art.
Okay, I was about to say.
Well, what were you gonna say?
I was about to say, well, yeah, no shit. It's gonna be a bunch of other horror things. You said he draws a lot of cute art. I'm like, oh, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I have a story about Darkest Dungeon actually.
Go for it.
So there was that really famous picture of some dude cosplaying the Collector at an anime convention. I got to meet that guy at KitsuneCon.
Seriously?
Yeah, he was super
That's cool.
And he was like, yeah, man, even the creator like shouted me out. Like it was really, really cool. I'm like, I know, dude. Like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like you look the shit, and it was just really cool to meet him. Like I was literally talking to someone because someone else was doing a Bloodborne cosplay as I was doing a Bloodborne cosplay, and I walked up on him and I just said, "Time for a visceral!" And I pulled the trigger on my this is really nerdy, but I pulled the trigger on my little flintlock like dumb click rifle. And it's like
Mhm.
no, and we just did a whole like dumb visceral thing like as if we're PvPing. His cosplay was way better than mine though because his jacket was more like raggedy and looked more Bloodborne-ish. I was going as a gentleman hunter, so I had the top hat and a trench coat and like the vest. But he
Mhm.
had like the auger and like a bunch of other things on his like thing. He even had like a roll of paper to represent the flame paper or the bolt paper. Like his
Cool.
cosplay was way better than mine, but we still were like, yeah, Bloodborne. And then I literally turned around and go, holy shit, there's a collector. And he whipped around like, wait, what? And we're just standing there as he's like going through the vendor hall, and everyone stops to stare and look at this guy, and it's just like, holy shit. And it's like
Mhm.
that guy's cosplay was good, but this was like I had to stop and stare. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Ah.
God. You meet so many cool people at anime conventions. I'm starved for anime conventions. You know what I mean?
Same. I was gonna be going to a SuperCon this year, but because
I'm
of COVID, it got
actually I
canceled.
actually have a funny story about that.
All
I'm
right, go.
actually not exactly looking forward to my next anime convention because I promised
Oh.
someone I would do a Mao Mao cosplay.
Oh no! And you're stuck with that promise.
I'm stuck with that promise, but at the same time, it's like, ha! No anime conventions.
Hopefully, you'll forget, fool.
Yeah, they have forgotten at this point. Like, I told them about a new cosplay I was doing, and they didn't even bring up the concept of aren't you supposed to be doing that Mama cosplay?
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I did meet somebody cool at SuperCon when I
Mhm.
went, you
Oh, tell us.
know. You know the actor that plays Colossus in Deadpool?
Yeah,
Yeah, him.
Neat.
Ryan Regan I can't freaking say the name right. But
Not
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. He met the Colossus guy, not Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay. It's just when he said Deadpool, it automatically went to that.
Yeah.
Or
No,
from
it was
yeah.
not Ryan Reynolds. It was the actor that played Colossus, and he's
Fucking
taller
wish it
than
was
me.
Ryan Reynolds.
Putting him at like 6'6".
He's
He's like
big.
6. Yeah, he was a big dude. But the funny thing is, I was in the VIP party, and
Mhm.
he walks in, and everybody kind of just like as soon as like whispers started going around, like that's what? He wasn't even
He's
slated to
cool.
be here.
That's
And
keep going.
then
Mhm.
then it someone went up to take a picture, and his PR person stepped up like,
Mhm.
no pictures, no pictures. And then he stepped past her and just went, yeah, let's take a selfie.
I love people like that.
Yeah.
They're so nice, and
And
he knows
literally
it.
he took a direct video with me.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
Yeah, he took like a 20-second video with me, but it was
Oh,
partially for my sister because she had sort of
she had a
had to go to the
crush.
hospital.
Aw, I'm sorry about that.
So it was a rough day for her, but at least she brightened up a little bit.
My coolest like holy shit that's the guy moment for me at a convention
Mhm.
was I have a couple, but the one I can think of that was the most recent, which I'll just say the most recent one, was actually talking to the guy that voiced Duke Nukem. That was the shit.
Yeah, Duke Nukem is like one of those games you just
He's
don't think
such
about
a
anymore.
cool dude though.
Mhm.
Like he is such a cool dude, and he's like, okay, how I would describe it is like he's basically Kingpin if he was a swinger. You know what I mean? He has that vibe to him, and he's the shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, I also Cyanide and Happiness was at the convention,
Yeah.
so I met those people, and they're a cool group.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that's awesome. The most comfortable butt.
I also actually met voice actor for Ansem as well. Or not Ansem, but Zemnis from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, that's cool.
That was at KitsuneCon as well, and the funniest thing about one of his panels I was sitting in, he's like, "Look, I feel like I just have to say this. I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts 3 has taken so long." It was like the most on the nose thing he could have said, and also he told us this really funny fucking story about how at the studio a lot of the people had the joke of calling him Mansex
Oh my god.
because of Xemnas. And I'm like, oh no, that's the worst.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see here. One of my favorite comedian bits is the one guy. It's pretty recent, and he's like, I have a confetti cannon here, and I'm gonna give it to this guy, and he's like, so. I think he says like his mom or his sister passed away from cancer, and the guy pulls the trigger on the confetti can. And he's like, you weren't supposed to pull it then.
That's good.
Bad timing.
Well,
Uh,
are you guys familiar with Jeff Dunham?
no, I'm not.
I haven't
but...
watched him in forever. Kind of fell
Oh.
off of watching that. But
Oh my god.
back to the topic at hand.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah, this is a D&D podcast.
Right.
That got railed, and then the train left the station without us.
Yep. Okay, let's see here.
Yeah. What else is with the? What other topics we got?
Yeah. Well, talking about like D&D and talking about like I guess we can talk about a bit about dinosaurs before we have to end because we have about maybe 10 minutes before we have to end.
All right.
Yeah.
Like.
Sure.
This is like a whole new thing. Like, this is the first Wild West campaign I've ever ran. And I've been
Mhm.
thinking about doing Wild West campaigns for a while, but it's just like, it was just like, I felt like there's enough there, but there's not enough to keep me going. You know what I mean?
Mhm. That's
But with
understandable.
Dinosaurs of the Wild West, I feel like there's even more there to like keep everything going now. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah, because we're half making the content ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things I love about Dinosaurs of the Wild West about how everything can turn on a dime.
Yeah. Very quickly. I told you guys we should have not intervened with that whole robbing that was happening. And then
We got a ton of XP though, and I still have loot checks to
I
make.
almost
don't
killed
forget.
Snow.
Don't forget, just because I forgot about those dinosaurs doesn't mean you're gonna have to not deal with those dinosaurs. I'm just putting them somewhere down the line. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's what
Like
I thought.
the next fight is gonna have those dinosaurs in there again.
Oh Lord. Yeah, okay. I'm sure we'll be a little bit more ready at that point. Oh yeah, and that
Not if
you're
you
gonna
not if you don't know when they're gonna happen.
that's honestly true, in that you're gonna try to be doing a little less hand holding. If we're gonna die, we're gonna die.
Oh yeah. Like I'm
Mhm.
done hand holding. Period. Like I was watching some of the footage and I was like, why do I help them this much?
Maybe it's pity of me for being a new player.
That's
Maybe.
kind of part of it because I don't want you like killing your character off by doing something dumb. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I feel like we've had enough sessions to the point where I should be like, okay, he knows now. You know what I mean?
Like I have an understanding of it, so I should
Like
be.
you almost died because you didn't investigation check, so that's why I kind of put that out there.
Yeah,
And
that one's
and
fair to
that
keep.
that was
I didn't know of it.
that was because you didn't know what investigation checks were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now they do, and now I'm a lot more careful.
Ah, man. I still love how, like, having all these
Mhm.
dinosaurs here and you have to keep a list of, like, what dinosaurs do what and, like, which dinosaurs are bullyable and which ones aren't is really funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
the first time I said Hadrosaur and everyone's like, what the fuck is a Hadrosaur?
Mhm.
Or better yet, how there's 4 flavors of T-Rex.
Mhm.
Do you want the Gorgosaurus, which is basically like a Formula 1 which is the Formula 1 car of fucking T-Rexes, or do you want the off-road Jeep like classic T-Rex?
Off-road Jeep.
That's what a T-Rex is. It's the off-road Jeeps of fucking dinosaurs.
And then you
Mhm.
have me on Baryonyx.
Yeah.
Murder
They're-
hobo of
They're like
dinosaurs.
I would say like a Baryonyx is like the amphicar of dinosaurs. The amphibious
A what?
car, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Mhm.
The amphicar. It's definitely what it is.
I was more thinking murder hobo, but yeah.
Baryonyx aren't really that much of a murder hobo. They're pretty small, actually. You know what I mean? Like comparative to other dinosaurs. Like I'm almost certain that Baryonyx is like I know it's I know it's as long as a Gorgosaurus, but it's shorter than one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I'll have
that's
to
that's the
check
thing.
out
That's
that
the thing with dinosaurs in general. Like having to learn and relearn all these things about dinosaurs is really funny. But the book I have is kind of outdated.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because of that, because the Quetzalcoatlus they have in the book does not look like how a Quetzalcoatlus is supposed to look. This was printed back when that one dinosaur, I think it was like two parasaurs had their beaks and heads mixed up by accident, because one of them had like large stork head and the other one didn't. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Well, a Baryonyx can still. Let's see. I just looked up a rough estimate. It's still over 2.5 meters tall.
Yeah, but a Gorgosaurus is still going to be a little taller than that, I think. Well, actually, no. I think they're going to be a little small, like the same size. Roughly enough, the Gorgosaurus' claim to fame was because of how fast they were, and because they had a bite like a T-Rex because of that. You know what I mean? Like history said, they were the smallest of the Tyrannosaurids. That still means they're a Tyrannosaurid. You know what I mean? And their claim to fame was that they were pack hunters because of that. So it's like three or four Gorgosauruses like running up on you. It's gonna be a fucking problem, don't you think? Like the whole idea of the Gorgosaurus in the campaign is that it's the biggest raptor type you can have, like arguably, even though it's a Tyrannosaurid.
Book, or is there a resource online that I can use to kind of take a look at the dinosaurs and stuff, so I start having a better idea instead of having to ask about every one of them?
Just start looking up stuff about dinosaurs.
All right. Yeah. So that would
Literally,
be.
okay. I just found what I just posted is T-Rex compared to Baryonyx.
Yeah, that'll be great for all the audio listeners.
Well, put it on the video.
No, I don't wanna.
You might want to have a slip of it or something.
Don't you take that tone with me, mister. I still control all of dinos.
You do. To be fair, you do.
Yeah. I talk a lot of bluster, but I will rarely do anything that will kill the whole party intentionally.
Yeah.
Intentionally, I will say.
I mean, you could just casually throw in one of your little makeshift creatures and just see how that works out.
Oh, one of the frontier creatures? Hell no, am I doing that? There's a reason they're stuck only on the frontier. Like I refuse. Like like you guys are not ready for the frontier. You guys have at least to be at least level 7 before I'm even gonna think about letting you go to the frontier. The frontier is basically the murder, like old man fucks murder cavern of Dinosaurs of the Wild West. I do not I do not hesitate in when I say this is the place where everything is tested. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So.
I mean, I'm without Snow here to further talk about dinos.
I'd say this is a good spot to end it.
Yep. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we're above we're at an hour and a half like we're right now.
Oh, okay. That is a good timing to stop then. Now that we're starting to.
Let's call it here, guys.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Say goodbye to the audience.
Goodbye, Isabella.
She wasn't in this one.
I'm giving her some of the attention. She'll be here. Maybe at the end.
Until next time.
All right. Catch you guys next time. And as always, thank you for watching and keep the crusading going. All right.